Namaste, my dear brothers and sisters. The love and blessings of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo to all of you. I have with me today Aparna Pathak, who is an architect by qualification, but like many bright young people these days, she has decided to take a break so that she can dabble in things which are not expected of her and to do something which is truly in alignment with her passions and interests, and also to find greater meaning in what she's doing. So she's decided to take a year's break and teach very young children, which of course is also a type of construction. You know, she's an architect. She's constructing a better world by participating in giving better citizens to the world. But since she's new to education, she has raised a few very important questions. You know, when you are new to a field, in fact, you have more questions and better questions. It has not yet become a mechanical routine for you. So, uh, why don't you share those questions one by one?
Sure. So, the first question I would like to ask is that as a facilitator or teacher, how can we guide the students to bring out their unique abilities?
Sure. I mean, this is something which we all understand and also acknowledge as something important. But then, you know, there's a contradiction between encouraging the unique abilities of every child on one hand, and on the other hand, having a standardized sort of a program in education. And uh, also, the class size sometimes makes it difficult to do that. But then there's always a way out, and especially with very young children, it is relatively easier for a variety of reasons. Firstly, the rigidity of the timetable need not be there. And it's not that, you know, one period is over, the teacher goes, and then another teacher comes who starts teaching another subject. Mm. The same teacher can be with the children from morning till this evening or afternoon. And uh, there need not be a rigid timetable. And the class size, of course, should be small. If we have this, then the teacher would be observing the children and she would see what is it that uh, the child gets absorbed in, so absorbed in that the child is unwilling to do anything else, which means that you have to have an enriched environment where the choice is available to the child and you have an atmosphere of freedom, not an atmosphere of fear. I don't have to do what the teacher says. You know, that's not the feeling that the child should have. I can do what I want. And if you create that atmosphere of freedom in which there is a lot of choice available in indulging in different types of activities, you will find that children have a very strong will which they start asserting, and they will go on doing something which they really enjoy doing for a very long time. They lose track of time, in fact. So that gives probably the most important clue to the teacher as to what the child is interested in. And then, of course, the teacher can encourage the child in that area. Now, related to this is, of course, another point, the other side of it, that while each child has unique abilities, unique strengths, unique talents, every child also has some unique handicaps and weaknesses. We all of us have. And that doesn't really matter because success in life depends upon capitalizing on our strengths and doing something where our weaknesses won't matter. But at the same time, what is important is that one may observe also what is it that the child is not good at or not interested in. One should be careful not to criticize the child for it. Because criticism from a teacher carries a lot of weight for the child. And sometimes it can leave a scar for life. And that's something which one has to avoid.
Sure. Sure.
Does that question raise any other question in your mind?
Uh,
Any afterthoughts?
yes. So, in a way that, you said that to give an enriched environment and to see what the person is drawn towards, which also brings out the point of being curious to know and learn. So, how do we enable that learning or building on the curiosity of a child?
Sure. I mean, when the child is indulging in different types of activities, uh, one of the reasons that motivates the child is curiosity. The child wants to explore. The child wants to know how something feels, what happens when you say touch something, bend something, manipulate something, and uh, starting with for the child it's a discovery even to find that if I hold a crayon in my hand and move it on the paper, it creates a particular shape, and I can decide what shape to create. So the child is exploring. So children by nature explore the environment, and they are inquisitive. All we have to do is to nurture this and not kill it. So this curiosity should be nurtured. And of course, as the child grows up, uh, we also have to help the child formulate a question properly. Because while curiosity is important, formulating the question properly is also important. And that is something which can come when the child is a little grown up.
Okay. Also, one more thing. When the person or the child is engrossed in something, so how do we differentiate between whether the person is engrossed in the activity or the person is just being, say, stubborn and does not want to do something that is being done maybe by the other children?
Yes, I mean, if many children are interested in, say, more in the same thing, and the and the limited amount of equipment, then you may feel that uh, the child is perhaps not so much engrossed, but the child is just being self-centered and doesn't want to share the equipment, and therefore is being stubborn about not stopping that activity. Uh, this is where the waking up the innate goodness of the child comes in. Because while I mean anything wrong, including being stubborn, can be very tempting, the child somewhere deep within knows that I'm not doing the right thing. And when the child doesn't do what is right, the child, on one hand, may get a cheap thrill from what the child is doing. The child also feels a little uneasy about it. So that is also something which the teacher has to bring out by asking an appropriate question and engineering in the child a reflection so that the child volunteers to share, which will give the child a joy. So let him experience the joy of sharing rather than the cheap thrill of monopolizing. Okay, then we can always take up more questions later. Thank you.